Karol Wojtyła was a priest in Poland. He had to go to essentially a secret university. It was all underground at that point, and he had a remarkably charismatic presence. He set about to spend time with a lot of young people. He'd go on kayaking trips with them. He listened to them. He developed close friendships with a number of younger couples. And his priesthood was very deeply affected by this time that he spent with the laity. And he understood really deeply the place of the church is to encourage and serve them and to send them out into the world. Well, Karol Wojtyła was, to everyone's surprise, voted to become Pope, the first non-Italian in many, many years. As the new Pope, he wanted to come and visit his home country. He wanted to go back to Poland and to speak to his people. It was highly unorthodox. It was not well greeted by the communist authorities. And when he arrived in his home country and talked to his countrymen, it electrified the entire country of Poland. It was a deeply religious country, very devoted people, and despite all the years of communism, they had not been able to eradicate the faith. But they were still living in fear. And when Pope John Paul II came there, millions of people poured out onto the streets. Now, this was somewhat unsettling for the communist authorities, who looked at this and said, you can't control this situation. You can't shoot this many people on the streets. Well, Pope John Paul II knew full well that his greatest value to his people was not to speak to the political situation, but to go deeper, to speak to the human condition. And he spoke to his countrymen, encouraging them to think about themselves as souls with an eternal destiny, that they were creatures of God with a dignity and with rights and with responsibilities that transcended the realm of the state, but that their true identity was in Jesus Christ. And he had a way of talking about this that just ignited people. Well, every city that he went to visit, people turned out by the thousands, and eventually the streets were full. I mean, literally 1 million people on foot in cities. It was a moral earthquake that shook up all of Poland and then began to ripple across the borders into neighboring countries. Czechoslovakia was the one next door. East Germany. The fact that people had assembled in such large numbers and had not been quashed by the communists gave people courage. They never thought about themselves as able to have a voice again. And one of the things that he said again and again on this visit and subsequent years, he said, "Be not afraid." And just by saying that and repeating it, he took off the shackles of people who had been imprisoned in their minds, if not in their bodies, by communism. And as he is saying, "Be not afraid," the crowds are answering back to him, "We want God. We want God in our cities. We want God in our schools. We want God in our country now." Well, this was also unsettling for the communist authorities, as you might imagine, but it lit the fires of faith in the people in Poland, in Czechoslovakia, in East Germany, and rippled eastward. And if you look at it as sort of lighting a long fuse, that same stick of dynamite then burned for 10 years and eventually exploded the Berlin Wall in 1989.